Oh, hey. Hey, everybody. It helps to have a microphone. How you guys doing tonight? Are you okay? I hope you're okay. I don't think everybody's okay. There was a lot of things that happened that may not make you okay tonight, but that's why we're here. We're here for group therapy after Game of Thrones tonight. There was a lot going on and a lot that we couldn't see. I want to thank Game of Thrones for destroying what little bit of eyesight I had left. These are like progressive lenses, and I had a shit time tonight trying to see exactly what was happening in Westeros. It was very dark, and then the goddamn Night King decided to fog the shit out of everything, and that made it even better. Thank you. Thank you, fuck. Anyway, sorry about that. Sorry, you dropped the F-bomb. Game of Thrones tonight went into record-breaking territory in a lot of ways. Probably, and I think this is verified fact at this point. This is probably the biggest battle sequence ever filmed. Even though, like I said, it was sort of dark, so you take that with a grain of salt, as you will. So Game of Thrones tonight. Wow, just wow. The description that the director gave of this was very accurate. He said it was this constant battle going on. And then within that, you had levels of interpersonal dramas and things happening, major things happening within the show. And that's pretty awesome. And it's very accurate. There is so much to go over in this with what happened. Not the least of which, of course, if you've watched the episode by now, you know the Night King is done. There's no more Night King. Winter has gone at this point. And we'll get into that. But it's kind of funny because I think there's a lot of people shocked by this and a lot of people angry about it or weirded out or freaking out about it now. And I find that funny because the fact is, there was no way he was going to be the final boss, if you will, because it's always been about Cersei and the Lannisters and the Starks, the families, and the Game of Thrones. Hence the title. So it's not surprising that at the with like 2 or 3 episodes left, the Night King's done. So anyway, we'll get to that. This episode was really fantastic in how, and George R.R.R. Martin may want to take note of this. This episode really was well thought out. This whole arc for all these people was so beautifully ended with this. The journeys that we've seen these characters go was really beautifully done. Jorah and the Mormonts, Lyanna, goddess, that little chick, yeah. That was rough. That was a rough one. But she went out like a badass bear should. The episode tonight was fantastic, epic zombie killer. Very, very good. But she went out like a champ, which we knew she would, and she took down a fucking giant. So props to the bears who are no longer there. I believe that was those Jorah and Lyanna were the two. They were the last of the Mormonts, so that's tragic but beautiful at the same time. Well, the thing is, we didn't see Ghost go anywhere. Like, we don't know that he died. We don't know. I'm not taking that. No, dog didn't die. What, direwolf's still alive? Not gonna buy it. I didn't see Ghost anywhere running around like a blue-eyed freak. Did you? I didn't. So there, in my brain, he's still alive. So with that was a beautiful ending for Jorah. He went out the way he went out with honor, and he went out protecting Daenerys, which was what he wanted. That was, and I hope Daenerys feels horrible. I'm glad she's crying. I'm glad she feels like shit. You treated him like dirt, you ass. So that was a beautiful ending for him, and it was kind of how I figured he'd go. Going from that, I think MVP of the night, other than Arya, we'll get to that too, goes to Theon. Theon's journey, it's so circular. My husband and I, as we were watching it, we were talking about like previous episodes and how, like in the first or second episode, like way back, way Theon had made a comment about he'd always protect Bran, and if anybody attacked him, he'd protect him in the woods there, and that's what happened. Someone made a comment in that episode, and I can't remember. It was way back in the first season. There's going to be a fight in the woods here, and it happened, and I thought that was beautiful how that played out. And God, man, Theon went out like a mama. I mean, that was just great. That was a great fight sequence. It just, holy shit, he's a badass. He lived up to his family lineage and proved who he was. So that's beautiful. That was just great. There was a lot of things happened in this episode. I'm going to try and capture everything as much as I can. So, Melisandre, I'm not so shocked at all that she's gone after this episode. She did what she was supposed to do. She fought for the Lord of Light, helped them out, used all her magic, and that was her journey. That's what this whole episode, this whole season, the last 2 or 3 episodes of this that we've seen are the journeys. And you've got Brienne with her knighthood now, and she kicked ass. I cannot believe she made it. Everybody swore she died. She died. Show's not over with yet, and Tormund made it, which thank you, Jesus. But the battle sequences, from what we saw, I got to complain here right now. I'm complaining at this point. HBO, what the shit with why this was so dark. I know it's because even with as much money as they dumped into this, that they still have a limited budget. It's not like, Endgame, where you have all this money that you're going to be able to pile into this sucker. But at the same time, my God, it was so dark. It was annoying as shit that it was so dark. And then you had the Night King do his fog thing, which made it even harder. And so that was annoying. I'm going to watch it again tonight later on a 4K TV to see if it makes a difference. What I watched it on was like the level below that, and it was really dark and hard to see, and that seems to be the consensus with a lot of people, was that it was so dark, and the shadows and just there was a lot of issues with the visibility, which sucks because the scenes that weren't that difficult to see were just fantastic. The amount of just carnage and bodies falling and everything, and my God, the army of the dead using their own people as a bridge. Holy crap, that was just badass. The whole thing was beautiful, and these just crazy shots. And then you find out that that they filmed for like 59 straight nights or some crazy amount of night shoots. Because it was hilarious. My husband, as we watched it, he thought they were actually doing day for night or something to that effect, or using like CG. And I had to tell him, I'm like, no, they actually filmed like this crazy schedule of 2 straight months of night shoots to make this happen. And that's pretty fantastic. That's a lot of dedication. It's the hardest shit some of these people have done. And hearing the actors talk about it was crazy. But like I said, this journey, everything led up to this, and that's pretty fantastic when you go back to it. I think, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty certain that the knife that Arya uses to stab the Night King is the knife that was planted to make suspicion on Tyrion. That's the same knife. I think that's the same knife she used to kill. Didn't she cut Littlefinger's I have to do that. Little fingers. Throat with that same knife, and that's why it would work on the Night King, because it was that the Targaryen, the steel that they needed. So I loved how everything kind of circled back. Everybody's journey led to this. Arya would not have been able to do the things that she had done if she hadn't taken the path that she had gone through. So just, wow. So good, so perfectly done, and just really amazing to see. They're pulling no punches here with this show, and with it being, it really sucks that it's the last couple of episodes, but at the same time, they're wrapping it up, and you have to give them props for that, because a lot of shows don't, and their HBO is giving them the funds that they need for that, which is fantastic, and giving them the ability to do it. Hi, new people that came on. Hello. Thank you for joining us on group therapy. Welcome. We feel your pain. So watching this, it was just a really neat, and here's the thing that I was, and you guys let me know what you think of this. I kept telling, as I watched this with my husband, I kept yelling, John, you're a Targaryen. You can go into the fire, go into the fire, go into the fire. And at the same time, when he was freaking out over the ice dragon, I think he should have been able to survive a blast from that thing, because John is the meshing together of fire and snow, because he's Targaryen and Stark. So that makes sense to me that he would be able to survive that dragon. I was hoping for that. That didn't happen. But at the same time now, because this sort of wrapped up the whole Night King story arc, we don't need to worry about that part now, I guess. But I thought that would have been neat to see him walk through fire. Or even the dragon fire, the ice dragon fire would have been neat too. So, wow, there was a lot in this show, in this episode. Just beautifully shot again. I can't tell you enough how difficult this had to have been to coordinate with the amount of people involved. There was a lot of extras here, a lot of battle sequences. Some of them looked like they were one-shot camera, one-shot tracking shots, which were really beautifully done. Clegane, the hound, the poor hound. I knew that he was going to have a problem with this because fire was such a big deal in it, but I knew he'd probably make it through, because we have to have Clegane Bowl. And I have a feeling that he's going to end up being the one to take down the mountain, the undead mountain, and how he's going to do it is probably drag him into a ball of fire of some sort. There's something like that's going to happen with that guy. Just saying. I'm calling it now. That's how that's going to go down. Beric, wow. I loved, again, it's the whole arc thing, his path led to this, his resurrection over and over again via the Lord of Light. And that shot of him with his arms out, holding back the rights, to keep Arya and Clegane safe. That just was, wow. Honor, man. That's so fantastic. That was beautifully done. But again, like I said, this was all about the arcs and the coming to the end of their journeys for some of these characters and how they led to that. It was just so well done. Then you have the scene in the crypts, and we kind of knew that was a bad choice. Didn't turn out as bad of a choice as I thought it would. I still wanted Undead Ned Stark to show up at least once, but that didn't happen. You're disappointed by the ending? How no? Why are you? What were you disappointed about? I'm curious. The reason I'm curious is because, as you may have missed this earlier, there's no way that the Night King was going to make it through. and be the last final battle. Because we had to get the focus back on the whole point of this, which is the Game of Thrones, which is going to be what we have with Cersei. So I wasn't disappointed in the ending at all. I thought it wrapped up perfectly why some of these characters went the way they did. So no, I wasn't disappointed by it. I thought it was fantastic, and I loved Arya, and I loved that she was the one to do it, because it was her whole journey led to that. Everything that she went through, this is where it led. Again, I keep saying that, but that's what happened. The one thing that I really, really, really loved in this episode was Sansa and Tyrion, because a lot of people probably forgot that they got married. They were married, and they kind of still are, I guess, even though I guess it got, I guess they got it annulled, but there was some cute interplay with them, and I really dug it. I liked, it was really sobering to see that she was going to kill herself. That was that whole thing, why she had that specific knife, and that was the whole point of that scene, was she was going to end her life instead of becoming a victim to these creatures. So yeah, I loved the interplay between them. I love the whole it'll never work between us because you're divided loyalties. So it's interesting to see that. I think that whole thing, and you know, Missandei, too many of these characters have very similar names, heard it and made her little comment. But it's interesting to see that now with Sansa and Tyrion, how that's going to play, because we still have like 2 episodes, I think. It's sad. It's only 2 episodes left. To see where Tyrion's loyalties lie at this point. Because now that the Night King is done, Daenerys is going to focus on Cersei, and then that means what's going to happen with the throne itself. So in regards to this episode, the Night King comes to Winterfell, just fantastic. Well done, Game of Thrones. If this doesn't get some Emmys, there's some Oscars, honestly, because it's better than 99% of the crap out there right now. But if this doesn't get some Emmys, I don't know what the shit is going on. I don't know. But this was fantastic. Beautifully done. I loved it. On this edge of my seat, I thought everybody was going to die. Nah, shit. I was like, oh, that would be a surprise twist. Everybody dies. What am I going to cover next after this season comes to a close? We have a lot of things to cover. Good Omens starts next month. Oh my God, it's May in 2 days. Good Omens starts next month. Nosferatu starts next month on AMC. Amazon, I think, is going to parse out Good Omens 1 episode per week, so that's nice because it's a limited run series. But we'll talk about that. Yeah, and then Lucifer's coming back to Netflix, which is fantastic. So we've got a lot to cover. We still have shows, and then in Magic November we have Disney Plus. I should do an Endgame. Oh, everybody's talked about Endgame already. Everybody knows everything about Endgame. I loved Endgame. Endgame was fantastic. I saw it on Thursday night, opening night. And I know there's a lot of geeks out there feeling some pain right now because they've lost their people in Game of Thrones, or were terrified that they were going to lose their person or peoples in Game of Thrones. It's been a rough weekend for the Starks. But yeah, so Game of Thrones, man, this has just been, they're wrapping up. They're doing well with it. They're not jacking around. I'm curious to see how George Martin's, if he ever finishes his books, if it even compares to this. But this was just fantastic stuff. I'm trying to go through everything that happened in this, and there was so much. I'm just still amazed that Tormund and Brienne lived. I knew Jaime would have to, because Jaime's going to be the one to take down Cersei. His destiny is to be the king and queen slayer, if you will. But you got to remember too, don't forget Brom. As I said, there's too many similar names in this show. He's got that wonderful crossbow that's supposed to be for Tyrion and Jaime. So we'll see how that plays out in the next couple of episodes. He's probably going to die, and he's one of my favorite characters. But yeah, we'll see how that goes down. Will I be covering Fear the Walking Dead season 5? Possibly. I wasn't too excited by their trailer, because now it just seems like any of these, like Fear the Walking Dead is getting all these characters coming over from Walking Dead that, like Dwight's going over there now. And, we already had Morgan show up. I do like John Dory being just a badass that he is. One thing that I'm really excited about, we saw an ad for before the episode started on HBO, is the new Deadwood movie, which looks epic. That's one thing I wish that they would bring back, although it's, with Game of Thrones going away. I don't know if you guys were aware, but they just released the fact that the prequel series for Game of Thrones, the one that they've been talking about for a long time, is now dead in the water. That's not happening, so we're not getting that prequel series of Game of Thrones now. I love Deadwood. I love it. I love Ian McShane. I love Ian McShane to the point that I actually found this. I found it. Lovejoy. If you've not watched Lovejoy, it is fantastic. Ian McShane is Lovejoy. He's always looked like that. The guy's like almost 80 years old now, and he still looks like this. Just a little bit more, growly. I like him growly. So yeah, I love Deadwood. I'm very excited about the movie. And because of that movie, they killed off the mom, and they killed Kim Manners off in Fear the Walking Dead. Am I a fan of John Travolta? That's random. Game of Thrones, you're really making it hard for me to let go of you now, because you've really just nailed it these last few episodes, and you're going out with a bang. I'm really scared though about Tormund and Brienne. I could totally see Tormund like going off back into the Wilding area after this battle. The rest of it, he's like, shit, I don't give two craps. Should your dad watch Game of Thrones? Yes. Dad's probably like Game of Thrones. I think Tormund probably will just walk back off into the Wilding Lands after this battle. Screw it. He'll probably try to get Brienne to go with him, but Brienne will probably end up sticking with Jaime. That's just how it goes for Tormund. Maybe he'll find himself a nice, big, giant woman. That'd be nice. That'd be nice for Tormund. So yeah, I loved Game of Thrones. This episode was fantastic. Give it up for Arya Stark. Just freaking awesome. I actually called that about 2 seconds before it happened. I was like, what's going to happen? Arya ran off. Arya's going to end up jumping on top of him and stabbing him. That's what's going to happen. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. Yeah, I was worried about the dragons. I don't think the other dragon made it. And I was just thinking about Ghost again. I refuse to believe Ghost is dead. Ghost is not dead. We didn't see him die. So Ghost is still alive. So screw you all trying to convince me or say that Ghost's gone. Ghost is still alive. There you go. He's going to walk off with Tormund. They're going to go live with the Wildings. Dire wolves get no love. Ghost was an afterthought. They should have just left him alone so I could live in my world where he's still alive. I actually somewhere in the back, one of the boxes of the giant collection of crap that I have back here, as you can see, I actually have a Ghost little Funko pop keychain because Ghost is my dog. Ghost. Even though I have a Targaryen t-shirt on right now. But yeah, so thank you for watching. I'm going to wrap this up tonight. And again, because I need to go watch it again on TV where I can hopefully actually see it. HBO, seriously, what the shit. I loved it. Game of Thrones was epic tonight. Just really beautifully done. And now we get to focus back on the actual Game of Thrones. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the 20,000 troops that Cersei has and her, her armada. Our guys got pretty decimated tonight. Pretty roughed up. So it's going to be curious to see how they're able, even with their one dragon they've got left. I think they only have one. I think Jon's dragon went down hard. I don't think he's around. Maybe. I don't know. We didn't really see him die. See, I'm going to keep believing that he's not dead yet. But it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. And, I hope not. I hope Drogon isn't the last one. I want 2 dragons. But we'll see, I guess. Probably Drogon is the last one. But yeah, I'm curious to see how this plays out with King's Landing and how they go about attacking Cersei and company and how it goes down. I don't think Cersei realizes that when you take a deal with the bank that she has, that she's going to have to pay that back. And typically the highest bidder can get them. So we'll see how that plays out with Daenerys and company. And hopefully we get to see Mark Gatiss again, because I love Mark Gatiss. Mark Gatiss in all the things, because he usually is in all the things. He's been in everything at this point. So with that, I hope you guys had fun listening to me. I think they'll go get rid of Drogon since he's the dragon to put on all the TV cover. Yes, and also I think he's called Drogo reincarnated. So I think Drogon and Daenerys are going to end up flying off together into the sunset at some point. I mean, come on. I don't think Jon's going to go with the flow on that one at this point. She didn't seem too concerned, but he kind of did. Can't imagine why. Banging your aunt, kind of not a thing not to do, kind of. But guys, thank you again. I hope you enjoyed this. I will finally wrap this up, and we will see you next week. Same Dragon time, same Dragon channel, and go Arya Stark, the true queen of Westeros. Yeah. This is probably going to get me shot. So, thank you guys, and we'll see you next week. Bye.